Hi, I'm Adam.
And I'm Joseph 1.
I'm Frank.
And I'm Joseph 2.
Our video is over the structuration theory and also the adaptive structuration theory.
To understand the theory, one must know about the man behind it.
The man behind it is British sociologist Anthony Giddens, known not only for his theory on structuration in life and communication.
Having got quite a vast education, his knowledge on how society works has helped him develop a multitude of theories. One can say he is the most influential person on his field.
Structuration theory is the most well-known of his theories. During his initial research, he put together that there are ties to capitalism and social life within the structuration theory. This also includes how, when one puts together how their groups run or how they monetize a project, the different levels of organization and how you have people set to do their tasks will create a certain aspect of feeling around the group. Same way with customers and all that and products selling. If you put priority into something and have everything structured up to show it as the main ideal, everything will go to it. The structuration theory is very entwined with how the market works and how day-to-day organizations and how to best describe consumer and all that. Without it, the economy wouldn't be able to be stable. But at the same time, the way they influence it influences our own ideals about the economy. When we think of the economy, we usually think of like what's our favorite brand or what's the most popular among our group of friends. And that's what structuration theory really focuses on. It really just gives to the aspect that one cannot have this without the other. And that no matter what, the main way the market is ran is also how our social will be filled. Same with how we are, there is a tie-in with others. So the biggest thing about it is, structuration theory is that when the market controls us, it affects our choices. But in the same way, our choices affect how the market runs, which will then affect how the economy structures, and thus balancing each other in a yin-yang sort of fashion. And thus, this makes it a lot more complicated if you look at it from a terms like, okay, if I do this, this is going to change, but at the same time, doing this will change what I think. So really, you kind of have to look at it either from consumers or marketers. For a marketer, it's like, okay, if we do this, this will affect their choices to buy this product. While with us, we look at it as like, oh, this product's really not marketed towards me. I don't know if I really want to go with this. Thus, structuration theory is both a good and a complicated and a simple ideal. In that the form of how capitalism and social life really connect to each other is very simple yet confusing. Now, there is also a theory known as the adaptive structuration theory, which is based on Anthony Giddens' structuration theory, of course. This theory is formulated as the production and reproduction of the social system through members' use of rules and resources and interaction. Now, this was adapted from Giddens' theories by DeSantis and Poole to study the interactions of groups and organizations with information technology, and thus called it the adaptive structuration theory. AST, as it's also known as, criticizes technocentric view of technology use and emphasizes the social aspects. Groups and organizations using information technology for their work dynamically create perceptions about the role and utility of the technology. Now it can be applied to their activities. These perceptions can vary widely across groups. These perceptions influence the way how technology is used and hence mediates impact on group outcomes. Now this sounds very similar to just structuration theory, but this now focuses on a modernized form. Instead of just focusing on like buying products, it's now focused on what we use like social networking, type of branded computer we use, how games and all this. implies how us socially acting on these platforms creates a way for the marketing to change and adapt. It's also a viable approach for studying the role of advanced information technologies in organizing change. It examines the change process from two vantage points. One, the two types of structures that are provided by the advanced technologies, and two, the structures that actually emerge in human action as people interact with these technologies. Structuration theory deals with the evolution and development of groups and organizations, which means it views groups, organizations, and systems with observable patterns of relationships and community interaction amongst people. Systems are produced by actions of people creating structures, i.e., how it's a yin-yang focus. This structuration process can be very stable or it can change substantially over time. It is useful to consider groups and organizations from a structuration perspective because doing so, A, helps one understand the relative balance and the deterministic influences and willful choices that reveal groups' unique identities. Also makes clearer than other perspectives the evolutionary character of groups and organizations and suggests possibilities for how members may be able to exercise more influence than they otherwise think themselves capable of. And thus, it's more modernized than the original one is, but at the same time, very simple. Overall, though, the one thing is to remember, groups are the deciding factor for some things, but you yourself influence those group choices. So always make sure you don't let others control your own thoughts, but try and think for yourself. That's all we got.